Hi everyone, I wanted to come on here. Happy New Year. It's January 1st, so I wanted to record this video just to talk about kind of the reasons why I left the US and why I moved to Amsterdam and why I specifically chose Amsterdam. Um, so this is going to be just a little video essay about what led me to move here. Um, so first off, um, So when I was 13, I first went on a trip to Europe. I went on a school trip to England, Ireland, and Scotland. And I fell in love with everything about the area. I loved everything, the castles, the food, the people, the culture, the scenery, all of it. I fell in love with it. And I kind of had this idea in the back of my head. I was like, I'd like to live here someday, and here in a broad sense of like somewhere besides the U.S. Um, and I went on several more trips over the years. I have been to Asia. I've been to Australia. I've been to Mexico, Canada, other countries in Europe, throughout Europe, including Amsterdam, actually, including the Netherlands. And the whole time I was just like, yeah, I think I could live abroad someday. And I even went to a really great college. I had a really good study abroad program because I was hoping that that would help me get overseas. And long story short, that didn't happen. I didn't get my act together enough to make that happen for me. But the desire was always there. After college, I applied for a program that would have sent me overseas. That didn't work out. I'm not going to go into the reasons why, but basically that didn't happen. So that was another time that was denied me. And so it's just always been a desire I've had since I was, 13 years old. So we're talking almost 30 years now that I've wanted to do it. And now is the time. My mother passed away about 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years this month. And she left me a significant amount of money in life insurance benefits, and she left me a house in Texas that I'm renting out. So now I have the time and the money to actually make it happen. So it just seemed like a perfect storm of reasons. I've always wanted to do this. This is the time to do it. I've got the money. I've got the time. I've got the motivation. I'm gonna go. And so that was a big part of it for me. Was just having this desire for so long and finally having the time, the money, and the motivation and the interest to do it. So that was really what led to me moving abroad. And also, I do need to disclose that there was the political angle of it. As you know, things in the United States are not great right now. They are really, really bad, especially for queer people like me. And it's not to the point where I feel like I needed to flee yet, but it was getting to the point where I feel like if I didn't go soon, I would not be able to go because I would either, um, you know, be denied leaving the country. I would be unable to leave financially, or visas could get denied or whatever. So I just felt like this is the time to go while I still can, while I still have the ability and the interest. Because I've read up on my history and I know that what's happening in the U.S. and how much worse it will get way worse before it gets better. Trust me. And if you think I'm exaggerating, read your history, because I'm not. We are seeing, the disappearance of groups of people just because they look different or sound different or have a different last name. We are seeing, mass deportations happening. We are seeing people's healthcare and being stripped away. The cost of healthcare and the cost of living has gone way up, has skyrocketed in the last year. We are seeing, all kinds of violence being committed against people who disagree with the regime in power. Um, and that scares me. And that really made me go, okay, I need to speed up my timeline. Because I was originally like, you know what? I'll move abroad when I retire. Like, and when in 20 years, that's fine. I'll move abroad then. But the situation in the United States has gotten so bad where I feel like I couldn't wait that long. If I waited that long, it would be too late. I'd already be in a camp or something or be dead. Um, and yeah, and I don't mean to scare anybody. This is the reality of the situation on the ground in the United States. It is really bad, particularly for queer people, which I am, for disabled people, which I am, and for people on the spectrum, which I am. Like, these are three perfect storm of things, of identities that I have, where the situation in the United States is really bad for me. And so I was like, if I don't get out ASAP, I might be too late. And honestly, even waiting until November I was like, was that going to be too late to get out? I wasn't sure. So yeah, so that's kind of my reasoning. And it was also, going back to earlier point, as I said, like I was going to wait to retirement, but my mother passed away just a year after retiring, and she didn't get to travel at all because she was too sick, and she'd wanted to like travel overseas, and she wanted to like, do like a cross country train trip and all these other grand plans that she had for her retirement that she didn't get to do any of them because her health was in such bad shape by the time she retired. And I didn't want that to be my story. I didn't want to get to 60, 65, 70 and be in such bad health that I couldn't do these things like live abroad or travel or any like thing like that. So I decided, well, I'm still healthy now, so let me do these things now while I still can, while I still have my health. And also, my brother recently was diagnosed with Parkinson's, which is, he's doing really well. He's responding really well to treatments. But our father also had Parkinson's, and he got diagnosed around the same age. They're both in their early 50s when they were diagnosed. So, and I'm in my early 40s, which means if I were to follow the same trajectory, not saying I will, but if I were, that means I've got maybe 10 years before the Parkinson's takes hold and takes over. And so that really put a fire under me of like, okay, let me do this now while I'm still healthy and still am able to do it. And not saying that you can't do those things with Parkinson's. You can live a very good life with Parkinson's, and there are plenty of people who do. But it does make things more challenging, like travel, like living abroad, like, anything involving any of that is a lot harder with something like Parkinson's. And so I didn't want to be in a situation where I couldn't do these things anymore. And also I'm in a country with much better healthcare, with much better awareness of healthcare, where it's cheaper and more affordable. So if, God forbid, I should get Parkinson's, I feel more confident that a country like the Netherlands will take care of me and will support me, and I won't have to go bankrupt for medical bills trying to pay for my care. So that was a factor as well for me. My mom's death and my brother's diagnosis. So those two things also were a big factor. So why specifically the Netherlands? Well, it's funny actually. When I was first considering moving abroad a year ago or so, it wasn't on my radar at all. I was thinking like maybe Spain or Portugal or even Thailand. Those are countries that I was more looking at. But, and those are all great countries. I'm not going to knock them at all. Maybe I'll live there eventually, who knows. But for me, it was, the red tape and bureaucracy in Spain and Portugal is absolutely ridiculous. It takes months to get approved. It takes months to get anything done there. And I didn't want to wait that long to get approved. I wanted to go as soon as possible. And so in the Netherlands, they have what is called the DAFT visa, the Dutch-American Friendship Treaty. And this is where U.S. citizens can come over and start a business and freelance in the Netherlands, and they can have clients from the U.S. or the U.K. or any other country in the world, and they can live here, and it's a permit. It's good for 2 years, and you can bring your spouse over on it, and they can work in whatever capacity they want to work in. You can bring children over, dependents, whoever. It's a really easy visa to get. It really just requires you put 4,500 euros in a Dutch bank account, which I haven't done yet. I'm going to do in the next few weeks, probably. And that's really it. And you get approved, and it's good for 2 years. And it's like it's one of the easiest pathways in the EU. And so when I heard about that, I was like, okay, well, this is definitely an option. And you don't have to, you can apply when you get there. You don't have to apply before you go. You can apply, you can wait and apply when you get there, which I know is a little scary because what if you don't get approved? But it's got like a 100% approval rate. So I feel really confident that I'm going to get approved. I'm not worried at all. I'm actually hoping to get my paperwork back very soon, hopefully this week. Yeah, so that's kind of why I chose the Netherlands. Amsterdam specifically was just, it's a big city. It's close to everything. The airport is not too. The airport's very central located. And it flies everywhere in Europe and in the world. And it's also like, my husband was very much like, if I'm going to move out of the country, Amsterdam's where I want to go. And I was like, okay. And Amsterdam's great. Like, I'm loving it here. It's beautiful. It's clean. It's safe. It's friendly. It's not too big. Public transit's really great. I'm having a great time here. I'm really happy I chose the Netherlands and Amsterdam. Yeah. But those are just kind of, I kind of want to just like, share the reasons why I chose to move here specifically, and why I'm here, why I'm staying here, and all of that. So I wanted to share that with you all because I know there were going to be questions about that coming up. So that's why I chose the Netherlands, why I chose to move abroad, why I chose to leave when I did, everything. So if you have any questions or comments, post them below in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them at a later date. I would love to answer your questions about anything like my visa pathway or anything about the Netherlands, living here, life here, whatever you want to know. Yeah, so Happy New Year. Hope everyone had a great New Year's Eve. I went to a gay bar, of course, and it was really fun. And then the Netherlands is very big on fireworks, so there was a lot of fireworks all throughout the evening. Up until like 2 or 3 a.m., people were setting off fireworks. It was crazy. It was really cool. I'm not a big fireworks person, but I did, enjoy some of the ones I saw, and, it was really pretty. It was very loud, not the kind of loud noises, so that was a little scary for me. But yeah, anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Hope you're well, and I'll post again next week. And don't forget to like and subscribe so I can get more subscribers, which helps me a lot. So please, if you have not subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button and sign up for more videos. I'll be back next week. Bye.